Urgent, Commanders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest Commanders news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Report Commanders exploring blockbuster trade for $118 million All-Pro. The Washington Commanders might be ready to shake things up on the defensive side of the ball. Outkick's Armando Salguero reported on April 24th that the Commanders have reached out to the Miami Dolphins about a possible trade for three-time NFL All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey, who has indicated he prefers his next team be a title contender. The Dolphins have talked to the Rams, Falcons, Lions, Commanders, Eagles, and others, Salguero wrote. The problem here is not draft compensation. Ramsey, if traded, may go for a fifth-round pick or thereabouts. The issue is the $25.2 million Miami would have to swallow in dead cap if the trade happens before June 1st. So any team wanting to make this trade now might be asked to provide the Dolphins with some cap relief on that number. On April 15th, NFL.com's Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reported that Ramsey and the Dolphins were looking at trade options. The Dolphins and seven-time Pro Bowl CB Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025. Per me and Pelissero, Rappaport wrote on his official X account on April 15th, Miami and Ramsey due 25. 1M fully guaranteed this season, could be parting ways. While there is no firm deadline on a possible trade with the NFL draft 9 days away, completing a trade prior to the draft would make sense if only so Miami can use the pick or picks they would acquire for Ramsey. Commanders would likely release Lattimore, and trade getting Ramsey would require not just one move but likely a series of moves. The first of those would be freeing up salary cap space to get Ramsey in his 25. $1 million salary on the books even. If that's not the final amount, which would likely mean cutting veteran cornerback Marshon Lattimore and saving $16 million in salary cap space. Then, there's what Ramsey brings back in a trade. In this case, the Dolphins want a draft pick, which the Commanders only have 5 of this year. In this case, Ramsey would still be worth giving up their 2025 fourth-round pick, number 128 overall. There's also the possibility that a team might want to trade up to get the Commanders' number 29 overall pick in the first round and give Washington an extra draft pick, one they could potentially deal for Ramsey. ESPN's Field Yates predicts the Cleveland Browns could be one team looking to add an extra pick in the first round. Yates' prediction has the Commanders trade the number 29 overall pick in the first round to the Browns in exchange for the Browns' second round pick number 34 overall and a fourth-round pick number 104 overall. So the Browns can select Colorado quarterback Sheeter Sanders. Ramsey, the number 5 overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars, is also a 7-time Pro Bowler and has been one of the NFL's dominant cornerbacks over the last decade, with a Super Bowl win with the Los Angeles Rams following the 2021 season. Through 9 seasons, Ramsey has approximately $118 million in career earnings. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Commanders news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Proposed trade sends Commanders first round pick to AFC North. While it's almost impossible to dampen the enthusiasm around any NFL draft, it's also okay to admit some years are more exciting than others. Coming off a draft in 2024 that set records for most quarterbacks picked in the first round, as well as most offensive players picked to open the first round, and offensive players picked total in the first round, 2025 was bound to be a bit of a letdown. That doesn't mean there can't still be some fireworks, and ESPN's Field Yates predicts the Washington Commanders and Cleveland Browns could be behind what would amount to the biggest story of the draft. Yates' prediction has the Commanders trade the number 29 overall pick in the first round to the Browns in exchange for the Browns' second-round pick, number 34 overall, and a fourth-round pick, number 104 overall, so the Browns can select Colorado quarterback Sheeter Sanders. It's a move might actually melt the internet, as it would reunite Sanders with his college teammate and the Browns' projected number 2 overall pick in wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter. It would also help the Commanders get some sense of balance back by adding another pick. Washington enters the draft with only 5 picks total. Sanders, my number 16 overall player, would reunite with Hunter, Yates wrote on April 24th. Predicting landing. Spots for quarterbacks beyond Cam Ward has proved difficult this year, but if Sanders gets past Pittsburgh at no. 21 Cleveland could get good value here. Has accurate and throws with touch, and he'd improve the Browns' QB outlook. They currently have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, with Deshaun Watson out because of a torn Achilles. Sanders dropping like rock. Headed into draft, the general viewing public could be in for an Aaron Rodgers-esque fall for Sanders in the first round, after his draft stock has gone down like the Hindenburg over the last month. When the evaluation process started in January, we were speaking like who would be the quarterback to go first, and it was a toss-up between Ward and Sanders, ESPN's Ryan Clark said on First Take on April 24. But that separation was created pretty quickly, but sometimes you can fall to a better situation, and it's not where you were drafted, but who you were drafted to. If it's just about the numbers, Sanders has few peers. Over 4 college seasons at Jackson State and Colorado, he made 50 starts, threw for 14,137 yards, 135 touchdowns, and 27 interceptions, while completing 1% of his passes. In 2024, Sanders threw for a career-high 4,134 yards to go with 37 touchdowns and a career-high 10 interceptions. The main criticism of Sanders seems to be over his demeanor. One anonymous NFL assistant coach's quote about Sanders in a story from NFL.com's Tom Pelissero caught fire in the days leading up to the draft. The worst formal interview I've ever been in my life, the assistant coach told Pelissero about Sanders. He's so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time. He has horrible body language. He blames teammates. But the biggest thing is, he's not that good. Washington Commanders 3 last-minute predictions for 2025 NFL Draft Commanders fans. These could happen on draft day. The 2025 NFL Draft is happening today, and few teams are entering the weekend with more at stake than the Washington Commanders. After a bold offseason, the franchise finds itself at a pivotal moment. There's sustained energy and cautious optimism among the fan base. However, that goodwill will hinge on how effectively they navigate a draft in which every pick counts. With only 5 selections in hand, Washington can't afford to miss. Each move must be intentional, whether it's reinforcing key units or adding the right kind of youth to a team eager to turn the corner. A win-now roster built around a rising star, the Commanders are Allen on building around Jaden Daniels while he's still on his rookie contract. Their offseason moves made that crystal clear. The trade for Deebo Samuel brings a dynamic weapon tailor-made for Daniels' skill set. They also kept veteran tight end Zach Ertz, who provides stability and continuity in the passing game, adding Laramie Tunsil to protect the quarterback's blindside signals the team's commitment to maximizing Daniels' next big leap. Meanwhile, the one-year signings of veterans like Bobby Wagner and Tress Way reflect a front office hunting for short-term upgrades in high-impact roles. That's a classic approach for a team trying to squeeze value wherever it can in pursuit of immediate results. The team did a commendable job addressing critical areas with veteran talent. They built competition across the depth chart and leaned into a high-upside mindset. That said, with just 5 picks heading into the draft, the margin for error is razor-thin. The Commanders still have glaring needs at running back, edge rusher, and in key depth spots. All signs point to a draft approach that will be highly focused, potentially a bit unconventional, and laser-targeted at adding players who can contribute right away. Here we'll try to look at the 3 last-minute predictions for the Washington Commanders looking ahead to the 2025 NFL Draft. 1. Doubling down on running backs in most years. Using early picks on 2 running backs would raise red flags. However, this isn't most years and this isn't most teams. The Commanders' backfield is in flux. There's a real sense that they want fresh legs and versatility to power this system. That's why drafting Omarion Hampton and Cam Scatterbo makes so much sense. Hampton, out of North Carolina, is the type of bell cow back who can thrive in a pro-style offense. At 60 and 221 pounds, he blends size, balance, and breakaway speed. He rushed for over 1,600 yards last season and has proven capable as a receiver and pass blocker. His vision and one-cut style scream NFL ready. Then there's Cam Scatterbo, the bulldozing Arizona State product who brings a different flavor. Built like a bowling ball, he plays with a relentless motor. Scatterbo doesn't just run through defenders, he relishes the contact. By selecting both, Washington ensures it can deploy a thunder and thunder backfield. They will beef up the competition, along with Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler. 2. Bolstering the pass rush if. There's one thing Dan Quinn knows how to do, It's scheme pressure. However, pressure requires the right tools. The departure of veteran Dante Fowler Jr. leaves a void on the edge. Enter Antoine Powell Ryland. The Virginia Tech product may not have the media buzz of top-tier edge rushers. However, his film pops. He tallied 25. 5 sacks over his last 2 seasons, showing burst off the line, strong hands, and a relentless drive. The upside is clearly there. Quinn could plug him into a rotational role on day 1 and develop him into a double-digit sack threat. The Commanders have quietly built a formidable defensive interior, but they desperately need more juice off the edge. Powell Ryland gives them exactly that. 3. Standing firm with 5 picks, this prediction may be the most controversial because it's what the Commanders won't do. With just 5 selections in hand, most teams would look to trade down and accumulate more capital. That said, all indications suggest Washington will stand pat. Why? Because they don't want just more players, they want their players. Peters and Quinn have emphasized scheme fit and character in pre-draft pressers. Trading back introduces variability and potential compromise. With only a few picks, they'd rather bet big on the few prospects they believe in than water down the class with late-round flyers. Additionally, this year's draft is seen as lacking mid-round depth. Talent drops off steeply. After day 2, by staying put, the Commanders maintain control and avoid reaching just to fill roster spots. Final thoughts. This year's draft won't define the entire Adam Peters era, but it could define its tone. The Commanders are repositioning. With a renewed sense of identity, this team needs pieces that fit, not just players that flash. Expect Washington to go bold, double down on a backfield identity, take a swing on a developmental pass rusher, and stay disciplined in the war room. It might not be flashy, it might not be loud, but it could be the blueprint for something sustainable, and that's exactly what the franchise needs. And now, Commanders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Commanders. You'll be back any moment with more Commanders news. We want Dallas.